At the height of her career, she was in one of Korea's top-selling girl groups and had an equally successful solo career until one fatal meeting in the airport. Here's the untold story of Park Bom. Prior to Korea and prior to being 21's Park Bom, she lived in America where she developed a love for music, through Mariah Carey. That's one of her biggest idols. She decided to come back to Korea, where she auditioned for a little company called YG Entertainment. You may have heard of them. Where she auditioned for basically 3 years in a row. And this really foreshadowed a very telling story of her career where everything was going to be an uphill battle from start to finish. Luckily, in 2006, she got accepted to the company as a solo artist until YG had the idea to put her in a group with 3 other girls. And that sort of became the birth of 21. 21 later debuted performing the song Fire. And the song kind of didn't go anywhere, but it wasn't until the song I Don't Care. This is actually the song where 21 won most of their trophies. It wasn't on I Am the Best or it wasn't on I Love You. It was this song, and I Don't Care, is where Park Bom's vocals shined. A lot of people really gained interest to the group through her voice. And remember, this is 2009, early 2010. 2010 was when K-pop was kind of heading towards the internet. And these girls used their unique style to their advantage. They really customized the stage outfits to each girl. And in a way, they broke a mold. K-pop no longer became for girls being uniformed and being cute and being synchronized. It became about expressing the individualism within each girl. We didn't see a lot of girls in pants and doing interesting choreography that wasn't like, oh, I'm cute. And Park Bom was a real refreshing contrast to her predecessors. You had Sun from Wonder Girls, and she was known to have this wide range, very feminine, very lyrical voice. And then you had, of course, Taeyong from Girls' Generation, and she had a voice that was very big in power. Now Park Bom, where she didn't have the range or power of her predecessors, but she really had a very interesting tone to her voice. With her voice, because she didn't have the biggest range, Park Bom understood how to express emotions through her voice and the tone of her voice. And her voice, because it was so different than her peers, it really solidified 21's brand about individualism and self-expression, because you had a main vocalist that wasn't the typical main vocalist sound, but it was different and it was unique. And within the Korean landscape, Park Bom's voice influenced an entire generation. Remember, without Park Bom, we wouldn't have singers like Lee Hi. We wouldn't have Hyena. She opened up an entire different career path for idols. For a solo artist, she definitely had a style that was very much different from the music in general. The songs that she shined in 21 were R&B influences, more ballads, and her solo career also reflected that. With You and I, that was actually a huge hit at the time, and this was really much one of the first all kills for a solo female, a rare feat within itself. She became a go-to collaborator at one point, GD and Top with Oh Yeah. She was on that record. It was a huge record. Park Bom opened up a new dimension where you could see idols within a solo realm and a group realm. And she managed to then create a lane for also her fellow group member CL, who later was doing singles like Baddest Female, and she started to do the same, bouncing between group and solo career. And that's what Park Bom did. She was definitely an innovator and very much a trailblazer for the modern day K-pop industry. At Park Bom's solo success, 21 was one of the major K-pop groups, period, not just girl groups. They were so successful, MTV declared them one of the only Asian bands within their top 10. You're talking about, they're in the same breath as Destiny's Child. They're in the same breath as Backstreet Boys, the Spice Girls, The Beatles. Do you know the Beatles are the best-selling group of all time? 21 had gained so successful, it had led to the birth of other groups, such as 4 Minute, such as Miss A, such as FX. Companies were creating groups to compete with 21. And her career was going great until it was released that she was under investigation for drug smuggling. A package of hers from her family to her South Korean address was detained in a Korean airport. And with that, it was later released to the public that she was under investigation for drug smuggling. A lot of international fans were worried, saying, oh, is Park Bom addicted to something? A lot of Korean fans were quick to cut her off. And there was a lot of circulation on what was it. It had came out later that she was injured when she was younger playing soccer in America. And because she has to wear heels in 21 and dance in heels, she's in pain. So those are painkillers. And on top of that, her management wasn't doing anything. Her management just pulled her from all appearances, pulled her from the spotlight, and we didn't know what was happening. Her company sort of took a very hands-off approach, which was odd because remember, GD was caught with pot. YG released a statement saying, oh, this was a gift from a fan. You know, he didn't know it was pot until he accepted it, and people had, washed their hands with it. Said, okay, cool, this is a misunderstanding. However, we didn't have that with Park Bom. And unfortunately, with YG not coming to her defense, it led the press to use any rumor that was in the air to push the whole Park Bom's drug addict narrative. So Park Bom was in a very dark place in her career. And it wasn't until she signed to D Nation and the CEO came to her defense and told us Park Bom suffers from ADD. This changed up the narrative completely. ADD is attention deficit disorder. It is a disability that affects your mental processing, and it really affects your attention span. A lot of people who have ADD, it's very common for them to have very slow and very slurred type of speech. A lot of Park Bom's ADD symptoms were used or mislabeled to label her a drug addict. People assumed that her slurred speech is because she was high, when it was she struggled with a real disability. This was a clear thing that her company at the time, YG, could have cleared up. Or this is something that the media, through research, could have cleared up. We saw Park Bom being teared down over a misunderstanding. I think this is why Park Bom's comeback is so amazing. Female idols take on a lot of victim blaming. Previous to spring, Park Bom was in a very harsh winter of her career. And I think now, with Park Bom being vindicated, second chances will be given a lot more frequently. Park Bom unknowingly became a martyr that got a happy ending.